I should have seen the signs. They weren't hidden, just wrapped in the fog of trust and routine. Her laughter changed. It used to dance lightly in the air when we watched movies on Sunday evenings, but now it had an edge, a sharpness, as though it was hiding something behind it. Her eyes, once full of warmth and secrets we shared, now held shadows she didn't invite me into. My name is Daniel Wyatt. I'm 37, a software engineer by profession, and until 6 months ago, I believed my marriage was unshakable. Emily and I had been together for 9 years, married for 6. We had a rhythm, a language of glances and half sentences, or so I thought. It began with late nights. Her new project at work, she said, was demanding. I didn't question her, not at first. She had always been ambitious, always poured herself into her career. But when the late nights became overnights, and the overnights became weekends away at conferences, I started noticing the cracks. One Friday night, she left for a business trip to Chicago. I stayed behind, nursing a cold and an unease that wouldn't settle. I tried to distract myself, but her scent still lingered in the bedroom, and the silence was too loud. Curiosity, or maybe it was desperation, drove me to her laptop. She always locked it, but I knew her password. I hesitated, guilt chewing at my conscience. But the truth was louder than my doubts. I found the emails, hundreds of them. Some mundane, logistical exchanges about meetings and hotel bookings, but others, marked with little red hearts in the subject lines, were different. Sent to a man named Caleb. The tone was intimate, playful, and brutally honest. She wrote about me, about how she felt smothered, about how I wasn't adventurous anymore, how Caleb made her feel alive, desired. I stared at the screen for hours, rage and heartbreak warring inside me. My hands trembled. My chest ached. This wasn't just infidelity. It was betrayal painted in her handwriting. I didn't confront her right away. I needed a plan. Revenge, some might call it. But I called it justice. I backed up every email, every message, photo, itinerary. I hired a private investigator. It felt sordid, but I needed evidence, not just to hurt her back, but to understand the depth of her deception. And Caleb? He wasn't just some fling. He was her coworker, a marketing executive married to a woman named Claire. They had a daughter. It made everything worse. I began reaching out anonymously, first to Claire. I sent her the evidence, careful to strip any indicators of my identity. The silence that followed was chilling. I didn't know what would come of it, but then things started to unravel. Emily came home 2 weeks later, pale and shaken. She claimed the work was overwhelming. I played the part of the concerned husband. I made her tea. I held her when she cried. Then one evening, she broke. "Daniel," she whispered, her eyes red. "Something's happening at work. Caleb, his wife, found out. She's threatening to expose everything. I I think she knows about us." I held her hand, the bile rising in my throat. "What will you do?" I asked calmly. "I don't know," she whispered. "I might lose everything." "Then maybe you shouldn't have risked everything," I said. Her face changed. Shock, fear, then suspicion. "What do you mean by that?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "I know, Emily, about you and Caleb, the emails, the lies, the trips." She gasped, recoiling as though slapped. "You went through my laptop." "You violated our vows," I said. She pleaded. She screamed. She accused me of violating her privacy. In the weeks that followed, everything fell apart for her. Claire didn't just expose the affair. She filed a lawsuit against Caleb for misappropriation of funds, using their company credit card for hotel stays and gifts. Caleb was fired. Emily faced internal investigations. Her reputation burned. I moved out. Bought a small apartment downtown. Quiet, cold, but mine. I found a strange comfort in rebuilding. I kept the evidence tucked away, not out of spite, but as a reminder. Some nights I replay it all, her laugh, her lies, my own blindness. And I wonder, was I ever enough? But those thoughts pass, because now I am not just the man she betrayed. I am the man who saw through the fog and walked away with my dignity intact. But that wasn't the end. Weeks turned into months. I was rebuilding, yes, but something gnawed at me. Emily wasn't done. One day I received a letter, no return address. Inside was a photo, Emily and Caleb, together, again. This time in a cafe across town, a fresh betrayal, like the lesson hadn't landed, like consequences were suggestions. That's when I made my second move. I created an anonymous podcast, Shattered Vows. A voice disguised, names changed, but the story real. Each week I released an episode detailing a chapter of my unraveling marriage. The betrayal, the lies, the investigation, the confrontation, and finally the revenge. It went viral, not because it was salacious, but because it was raw, honest. Listeners flooded in with their own stories, their own wounds. Some cried, some raged. Many thanked me. I wasn't just a victim, I was a voice. Emily found out. She called, screaming, threatening legal action, but she didn't dare. Everything I shared was true, and I had the receipts. The final twist? Claire and I met in person, one afternoon in autumn. She brought her daughter. I brought nothing but silence. She thanked me, told me I'd given her the strength to walk away, to rebuild. There was no romance, no rebound, just mutual understanding. Pain recognizes pain, and that's when I finally let go. Not of the story, not of the past, but of the power it had over me. So if you're listening now, if you've made it this far, remember this. Betrayal can break you, but it can also be the fire that forges something new. And me, I'm not bitter, I'm not broken, I'm free.